The capital city of the Intergalactic Alliance shimmered like a jewel in deep space. Towers of crystal and metal rose high, catching the light of 3 distant suns. Aliens of every size and color moved across floating bridges and silver roads. Their technology was flawless. Their knowledge was ancient. In the middle of this incredible world stood a small group of humans, looking up in silent awe. Captain Mara Holt kept her face calm, but inside her heart beat like a drum. She had dreamed of this moment since childhood, the day Earth finally joined the Alliance. Around her stood her chosen crew, First Officer Liam Graves, a quiet strategist with sharp gray eyes, Engineer Priya Rowe, whose nervous smile hid a brilliant mind, and Medic Noah Reyes, gentle but fearless. All of them had trained for years, ignoring the jokes that humans were too emotional, too slow, too weak for real galactic duty. A tall alien called Counselor Vranix approached them. His skin glowed silver, and his 6 eyes blinked in a slow rhythm. "Welcome to the Alliance," he said in a cool, flat voice. "Humanity will begin its service on the patrol frigate Solar Fury. You will follow orders. You will not take unnecessary risks." Mara nodded. "We understand." But even as she spoke politely, she noticed the hidden smirks from other commanders. A red-scaled warrior from the Drakari clan whispered loudly to his companion, "They won't last a week." Another alien, pale and elegant, with long spiraling horns, clicked her tongue and said, "Humans are only good at making noise." Mara straightened her shoulders. She had no intention of proving them right. That evening, as the suns dipped low and nightside lights began to flicker, the human crew walked through the magnificent alien city. Everything was strange: floating transport pods, glowing trees that sang soft music when the wind blew, street vendors selling fruit that shimmered like tiny galaxies. Noah's eyes widened as he tasted a purple slice. "It feels like starlight on my tongue." Priya laughed, her excitement finally breaking through her nerves. "We're really here," she whispered. "We made it." But Liam stayed quiet, watching the crowded streets with a soldier's eye. "Don't get too comfortable," he said. "We aren't here to enjoy the view. We're here to prove something." The next morning, they boarded the Solar Fury. It was smaller than the Alliance warships, but fast and agile. Painted in Earth's colors, blue and white, with a golden sunburst on the side. As Mara stepped onto the bridge, a familiar thrill shot through her veins. This was where she belonged. This ship, this crew, this mission. It would be their chance. Commander Kaeltron, a sharp-faced alien with green skin and glowing tattoos, stood waiting. "You will operate under my command," he said. His tone held no warmth. "Do not disobey. Do not improvise. Humans are known for chaos. We do not allow chaos on my ship." Mara saluted. "Understood, Commander." As the ship left the docking station, Earth slowly disappeared behind a curtain of stars. A recorded message from the Alliance High Council echoed through the hallways. "Together, we stand against all threats. Balance, order, and logic will protect the galaxy." Mara clenched her fist at her side. Balance and order were admirable, but she knew survival sometimes meant something different. Bravery, instinct, sacrifice, things no calculation could predict. Later that night, Mara gathered her crew in the observation deck. A vast window showed the glowing stretch of the Orion sector. Millions of stars burned bright in the darkness. "I know they doubt us," she said softly. "But that doesn't matter. What matters is what we do next." Liam leaned forward. "What is our mission, Captain?" Mara's dark eyes gleamed. "Officially, we observe, we learn, we assist. But our true mission is simple: to show them what humanity truly is. We are going to be smarter, tougher, and braver than anyone expects. When the moment comes, we will not run. We will not freeze. We will rise." Priya smiled nervously but nodded. Noah placed his hand over his heart, feeling the weight of his duty. Liam simply whispered, "Understood." News came quickly. An enemy force, the Orcs swarm, was moving again at the edge of Alliance space. They were machines that devoured everything. Planets, moons, even suns fell silent when they arrived. Multiple alien fleets had already failed to stop them. Supply lines were collapsing. Fear spread like poison. Commander Kale called a meeting on the bridge. "We are to patrol the Cora Nebula," he said sharply. "We will send updates. We will not engage." Mara felt a chill as she heard the name. The Cora Nebula was a beautiful cloud of pink and gold gas, and also a graveyard of lost ships. Stories said strange signals echoed inside it. Lights flickered. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. To go there now, when a killer swarm was on the move, felt like stepping willingly into a lion's mouth. Still, Mara kept her voice steady. "We will be ready." As the solar fury turned toward the glowing storm of the nebula, Priya whispered a quiet prayer under her breath. Noah gripped the straps of his mech pack. Liam adjusted the ship's tactical displays, and Mara Holt, with fire in her veins, stared into the swirling mist ahead. Others thought humanity had come to the stars to learn. But the truth was different. Humanity had come to show the galaxy something it had forgotten long ago, that courage, heart, and hope could burn brighter than any sun. Far behind them, Earth's children watched, holding their breath. Ahead, danger waited with open jaws. Captain Mara whispered only 2 words as the nebula drew near. "Hold fast." The Cora Nebula was unlike any place the human crew had ever seen. As the solar fury entered its swirling clouds, colors danced across the windows: rose pink, gold, deep violet, and electric blue. Each layer of gas moved like a living thing. Sometimes it looked gentle, like soft ribbons. Other times it twisted sharply, like claws waiting in the dark. Captain Mara Holt stayed on the bridge, hands resting behind her back. Her face was calm, but her heartbeat echoed loud in her chest. They were no longer inside safe Alliance space. This was the border between order and chaos, and the shadows here were thick with danger. "Radiation levels rising, but still safe," reported Priya Rowe, fingers flying across her console. "Signal range dropping," warned Liam Graves. "We may lose contact with the Alliance in minutes." Commander Kale Trone's narrow eyes flashed with irritation. "Maintain course. We are only here to gather data, not to play the hero." Noah Reyes watched Mara carefully. He knew that look in her eyes, steady, brave, even when she was afraid. Humans were emotional creatures, yes, but sometimes emotion was strength, not weakness. The ship glided deeper. Strange lights flickered far away, moving like distant stars being born or dying. On the lower decks, crew members whispered to each other. Some were excited, others fearful. Stories about the Cora Nebula always ended badly. Entire battle groups had entered these bright clouds and never returned. Suddenly, the lights on the bridge dimmed. A loud bang echoed through the walls. The engine sputtered. Priya's voice trembled slightly. Electromagnetic burst from the nebula. "I'm rerouting power." Another alarm wailed. This time, Liam stood up sharply. Unidentified objects closing in at high speed. Commander Kale stepped forward. "Orcs, unknown, but likely," Liam replied. His screen showed dozens of fast shapes moving in perfect lines. No life signs, no radio, no heat. Cold, silent, machine-like. Mara's mouth tightened. She didn't shout. She didn't panic. She simply said, "Battle stations." Her voice was soft, but everyone obeyed instantly. Lights turned red. Weapon systems unlocked. Shields came online. Noah placed his hand on Mara's shoulder for one brief moment, silent support. Before rushing to prepare medical supplies, Commander Kale hissed, "Council orders say do not engage." Mara looked at him, her expression steady. "If we don't fight, we die." Kale's jaw clenched, but he didn't argue further. Deep down, Even he could feel it. The storm was coming. The objects moved closer. Through the haze, their shapes became clear, sleek shards of black metal, like giant knives, each moving with perfect mechanical precision. Red lights glowed under their smooth armor. There were dozens. No, hundreds. Vorac's swarm confirmed, Liam said in a quiet tone. A heavy silence fell across the bridge. Even the air seemed to grow colder. Mara took a deep breath. Was this how it would end? In the middle of a pink cloud? Forgotten by history before humanity ever got its chance? No. She refused. This was their test. This was why humans had come so far, fought so hard, reached the stars with shaking hands and brave hearts. She lifted her chin. Arm MP torpedoes. Ready all decoys. Priya, prepare manual overrides. Liam, pattern Alpha 7. We're going to dance. One by one, the crew answered, Aye, Captain. The first Vorac's drones launched missiles of their own. Black spears. Shot toward the solar fury. Mara didn't wait. Fire. Blue streaks of energy and EMP torpedoes burst from the human ship, racing toward the enemy. Explosions flashed in the nebula's mist. Bright white shockwaves tore through the clouds. Some Vorac's drones, short-circuited, spinning helplessly before dying. Others adapted fast, shifting formation, learning in seconds. They're changing tactics, Liam warned. Just like the reports said. Then we change faster, Mara replied. She ordered the ship to spin sharply, dodging deadly fire. To outsiders, it looked like madness, a fragile human vessel dancing wildly through a mechanical storm. But there was precision in Mara's madness. Earth's fighters had always been adaptable, from ocean pirates to jet pilots, and now, in space, they proved it again. Yet for every enemy they destroyed, 2 more replaced it. After 17 minutes, Priya shouted, shield failure at 60%. Noah's hands shook as he tightened straps around broken pipes and slammed emergency medpacks to the walls. Sparks flew. Crew members coughed in smoky corridors. Commander Kale watched in shock. Fall back. Retreat before we are torn apart. But retreat meant death too. They were already surrounded. Mara moved closer to the main viewing window. She could almost feel the nebula's heartbeat. It was time to risk everything. Liam, she said quietly, prepare the analog pulse. His eyes widened. That weapon had only been tested in simulations. Old Earth technology. Dirty. Unreliable. But unpredictable. Exactly what a machine enemy might not expect. Captain, he said. He flipped switches, powering down parts of the ship that didn't even look modern. Copper coils, rough wires, strange tubes. It looked less like a starship now, and more like something built in a forgotten bunker. The Vorac's swarmed closer, sensing weakness. At the last possible second, Mara whispered, now. Liam pressed the trigger. A pulse of chaotic energy shot out in all directions, not clean, not precise. It sparked, it stuttered, it screamed, and then it hit the swarm. Dozens of enemy drones froze mid-flight. Some crashed into each other. Others drifted lifelessly into the nebula's fog. The bridge erupted with shocked joy. We did it, Priya gasped. But Mara stayed tense, her eyes fixed on the remaining Vorac's ships. Many were still alive. And learning, she muttered softly. This is just the beginning. Outside, the nebula swirled faster, as if it sensed the coming storm. Smoke floated through the hallways of the solar fury like gray ghosts. Alarms blinked red, casting strange shadows over metal walls. The crew ran from station to station, patching damage, cooling overheated engines, sealing cracked wires. They had survived the first wave of the Vorac swarm, but everyone knew the next attack could come at any second, Captain. Mara Holt walked through her wounded ship like a quiet storm. Her boots rang against the floor. Her uniform was dirty with sweat and burned fabric. Still, her eyes were sharp, strong, unbroken. She stopped at every corner, speaking softly to her people, encouraging them, giving them strength. We're alive, she reminded them. As long as we breathe, we fight. In the medical bay, Noah Reyes worked non-stop. A young radar officer lay on a bed, his face pale, and his arm wrapped in bandages. Noah bent over him with careful hands. "You'll make it," he said gently. The officer tried to smile. "I wasn't afraid. Not really." Noah checked his pulse. "It's okay to be afraid," the young man whispered, almost embarrassed. "Do you think the captain is ever scared?" Noah looked toward the closed door. He remembered the moment Mara had ordered the risky analog pulse, the calm in her voice, the fire in her eyes. He smiled. She is human. Fear lives in her heart. But courage lives there too. The trick is, he leaned closer. She never lets fear win. Meanwhile, Priya Rowe crawled inside a narrow maintenance tube, sparks flying near her face as she repaired a broken shield relay. Each pulse of electricity reminded her how close death came during the battle, yet her hands didn't shake. She had studied engineering in crowded classrooms on Earth, dreaming of one day touching real starlight. Now she was here, saving her ship in a foreign nebula. Everything she once feared seemed smaller than this moment, and that gave her bravery. She didn't know she had. Under the bridge, Liam Graves hunched over tactical maps, mapping the nebula's dangerous currents. "The Voreks are regrouping," he muttered. "Pattern suggests another strike in less than an hour." Commander Kale Tron hovered behind him. The alien's nerves were visible, twitching fingers, tremors on his glowing tattoos. "Can your human mind solve this, or will you simply gamble again?" Liam didn't answer the insult. Instead, he turned and studied Kale with steady eyes. "Machines are predictable, Commander, but humans, we don't move in straight lines. That gives us an edge." Kale gave a sharp hiss and walked away, unconvinced. Back on the bridge, Mara stared out the wide front window. The nebula was getting darker. The colorful gas now looked heavy, like bruised clouds before a storm. Small flashes flickered inside the mist, not friendly starlight, but the cold eyes of machines preparing their hunt. Priya's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, shields are back to 70%. Engines stable. But we can't take another full assault." "Understood," Mara replied quietly. Liam arrived with his tactical report. "We must change our position. Staying here makes us easy targets." "No, if we run, they will chase," Mara said. "We need to hurt them. Again harder, so they hesitate. That buys us the time to escape the nebula." Liam nodded slowly. "Use the gravity fault nearby." Mara's lips curved into a thin, fierce smile. Exactly. Tucked deep in the nebula was a dangerous natural phenomenon. A gravitational whirlpool where physics twisted without warning. Most ships avoided it. But if Mara could lure the Voreks there, maybe the machines would be torn apart by forces they couldn't predict. She opened shipwide. "Comes." Her voice was calm, careful, but powerful. "All hands, this is your captain speaking. We are not finished. The enemy comes again, and we will meet them, not with fear, but with fire. Each of you plays a part in this survival. Hold your places. Trust your training. Trust your heart. Humanity has come too far to die in silence. Let the galaxy hear us roar." Around the ship, exhausted faces lifted, straightened, smiles returned. Someone shouted, "For Earth." Another yelled back, "For Captain Holt." Soon, voices joined everywhere. Echoing down the halls, a chant of stubborn hope. Liam watched the crew become something incredible under Mara's command. Not just survivors, but fighters. 30 minutes later, radar detected movement. "Voreks. Swarm approaching again," Priya reported. Mara whispered, "All right. Begin Operation Iron Tide." The Solar Fury turned sharply, engines blazing, tearing through the thick gas clouds on a new course. Behind them, metal killers followed hundreds of Voreks drones, moving like a black river of knives. The human ship skimmed close to the dangerous gravity fault, sensors screaming warnings. Mara kept her hand firm on the command console. "Closer," she ordered. Liam's heart thundered. He watched the gravitational field ripple ahead. If they miscalculated by even seconds, the solar fury would be crushed. "Closer," Mara repeated. The swarm was almost at their heels when she finally said, "Now." Human torpedoes fired in rapid bursts, striking the edge of the gravitational whirlpool. The explosion disturbed the delicate balance, and suddenly the gravity field expanded wildly outward, pulling everything nearby with incredible force. The solar fury jumped to full speed and barely slipped away. The Vortex drones behind them were not so lucky. Screeching metal tore apart as the machines were dragged into the swirling force. Hundreds vanished into the fault, ripped to pieces by invisible claws. On the bridge, cheers erupted. Mara didn't smile yet. Her eyes remained fixed forward. "We've won a moment," she said softly. "But we are still inside the monster's belly." Ahead of them, the nebula stretched on endless, tangled, full of new threats. She took a long breath and whispered to herself, almost as a promise, "We will get my crew home, no matter what it takes." The solar fury drifted deeper into the heart of the nebula, its engines humming a weary song. Outside the windows, colors had faded from bright pinks to dark reds and rusty purples. It felt less like a beautiful sky now, and more like blood swirling in water. Captain Maraholt did not rest. She stood on the command bridge, staring at sensor screens with tired eyes, but a sharp mind. Her crew had barely won the last battle. Their shields were cracked, ammunition was low, and every person on board carried bruises on their skin and souls. But they were still alive, and that meant they would keep going. Liam Graves pointed to a distant signal on the tactical map. "Captain, I found something strange. It looks like wreckage." Priya Rowe zoomed in on the sensors. The shapes were twisted pieces of metal, floating in clusters. Dozens of broken frames tangled together, motionless in the swirling mist. "Old ships?" she asked softly. Mara narrowed her gaze. "Let's find out." They steered the solar fury toward the silent field of broken vessels. As they drew closer, the wreckage became clear. Some ships were large, some small. Some looked familiar and alien, while others were marked with unknown symbols. Their hulls were scorched, torn open, or burned beyond recognition. It was a graveyard of forgotten hopes, trapped inside the nebula for years, maybe centuries. "Noah," Reyes whispered from behind Mara. "How many tried before us and failed?" No one answered him. The ship slowed to a stop among the wrecks. Outside, long twisted arms of metal scraped gently against the window glass like fingers, trying to reach inside. It sent a cold chill down many spines. Scanning black. "Box data," Priya said, working quickly. "Maybe we can learn what happened here." Minutes passed. Static hissed through the speakers. Suddenly, a low, ghostly recording began to play. A voice, scared, shaking, alien, and barely alive, crackled through. "They keep coming. No weakness. Stay away from the heart." Then a horrible scream, followed by silence. Even Commander Kale Tron shivered. "They were warning us," Noah said quietly. Mara crossed her arms, thinking deeply. The heart. That must be where the Vortex core is located. That is where they are born, where they draw power. Liam nodded. "If we destroy the core, the swarm might collapse." Kate's eyes widened in fear. Madness. Hundreds of ships tried and died. You want to finish what they could not? Mara turned to him, her voice calm but unbreakable. "Yes, because if we don't, Earth and every world in the Alliance will fall next." The bridge fell silent. Priya swallowed hard and whispered, "Then we need a plan no one has tried before." Mara looked at her crew, exhausted, wounded, but standing tall. Every face showed fear, mingled with fierce love for their home. She knew there would be no Retreat. Only forward. She pointed to the wrecks outside. Strip anything useful. Fuel cells, armor plates, spare parts. We build stronger shields. Liam, design a route toward the core, using the wreckage as cover. Priya, I want every ounce of power pushed to engines and cloaknet. Noah, train every volunteer for emergency medical duty. We go tonight. Her voice lit a fire inside the hearts of her people. Yes, Captain, they said as one. What followed was a race against time. Crew members in suit armor climbed outside the ship, hopping across fallen vessels like spiders on a web. They carried welding torches, magnetic clamps, and cutting tools. Sparks rained down as they ripped off heavy plates and bolted them onto the Solar Fury. Inside, Noah taught young technicians how to wrap wounds, inject painkillers, and stay calm when blood flowed. Some had never treated an injured person before, but they listened with wide eyes and determined hearts. Liam plotted their course carefully. He weaved a path that twisted through debris fields, gravity cracks, and dense cloud pockets, a maze only a human could dare to weave. Unpredictable and wild, Priya rerouted power lines, sometimes burning her fingers, sometimes laughing through the fear. She pumped her fist in victory each time a new system came to life. By nightfall, the Solar Fury looked different. Armor was patched with ugly metal slabs from 10 alien species. The engines hummed with stolen batteries and glowing tubes. It looked rough, but also dangerous, like a beast that refused to die. Mara gathered the crew one last time. Her voice, tired but strong, rang across the ship. We carry the memories of everyone who died here. We will not be another ghost in this nebula. We will strike at the heart, and if we fall giving everything. The crew cheered, emotion breaking through the cold fear. They took their positions, engines growled. The patched-together ship turned toward the deepest, darkest part of the nebula, where no friendly signal existed, and where shadows moved with their own unnatural hunger. In the distance, faint flickers of red light pulsed like a demon's heartbeat. No one spoke now. They simply obeyed. They believed Captain Mara Holt whispered the command, "Take us to the heart." The Solar Fury pushed forward into the deepest region of the Cora Nebula. All lights on the ship were dimmed to avoid attention. Outside the windows, the colors of the nebula were gone now, replaced by empty blackness filled with swirling, ash-colored fog. The further they went, the more it felt like diving into the mouth of some ancient monster. Captain Mara Holt stood in the silent bridge, staring into the dark. Her fingers were cold, her heart steady. Every second felt like a heartbeat between life and death. Liam Graves watched his radar closely. With a low voice, he said, "No sign of Orcs movement yet." Priya Rowe whispered back, "Maybe they haven't detected us." Commander Kaeltron, arms crossed, shook his head nervously. "They see everything in their territory." Noah. Reyes stepped quietly next to Mara. "Everyone is scared, Captain, but they still believe in you." Mara didn't look away from the window. "Good, because belief is our shield tonight." Far ahead, something began to glow. At first it looked like tiny red dots, faint as embers. Then more appeared, and more, until hundreds of red eyes flickered like a field of burning coals in the dark. The Vorix were there, silent and waiting, guarding their core. Breath hitched. That's thousands. Liam ran a fast calculation. At least 3,000 drones, possibly more. Mara's jaw tightened. She knew they had come too far to turn back now. "Hold course, Cloaknet, at maximum." We passed them quietly. The modified ship crept forward. Every sound, every vibration, felt too loud. Even heartbeat noises in the crew's ears felt dangerous. They moved at half speed, gliding like a ghost through the shadows. Inch by inch, the glowing red sea of machine eyes shifted slowly, scanning the area for intruders. Down in engineering, Priya carefully adjusted a leaking plasma cable. Sweat rolled down her neck. One wrong spark and they would light up like a flare in the darkness. She sealed the leak and let out a sigh of relief, just as a loud metallic clang echoed from outside the hull. Everyone froze. Liam's radar rang. Softly, a single Vortex drone detached from the others and moved toward them. Curious. Noah whispered, "It hurt us." Mara felt the decision hit her like lightning. Run, and the swarm would chase them. Fight, and they would alert the core. There was only one path left. Stay dead, she ordered. Kill all power except life support. Don't move. Don't breathe loud. The lights shut off. Engines fell silent. The Solar Fury became a floating corpse in space. Outside, the lone Vortex drone approached. Its red eye stared into the hull, like a demon searching for signs of life. It circled slowly, scanning every inch. Inside, crew members sat motionless. Sweat trickled down foreheads. Hearts pounded wildly, but no one dared to even blink too fast. 30 terrible seconds passed. The drone drifted away, slowly, then turned back to rejoin the swarm. Noah let out a shaky sigh. Priya wiped a tear. She did not remember crying. Liam whispered, "Still alive." Mara didn't relax. Power back. Slow and quiet. Head for the core. They resumed the crawl. After another hour, the radar changed. A massive structure came into view. It wasn't natural. It looked like a twisted, thorny fortress of metal and cables, as large as a moon. At its center, a pulsing sphere of black and red energy throbbed, feeding the endless hive. "The Vortex core," Liam said, unable to hide the fear in his voice. Mara stared at it. Target locked. Under the bridge, Priya connected the final wires to their makeshift bomb, a fusion of stolen alien tech, human warheads, and unstable plasma coils. This improvised device was powerful, but unstable. She swallowed hard and spoke into the comm. "Captain, detonation timer ready. But once we arm it, we can't shut it down." "Understood," Mara said. She looked around at her crew. Their faces were tired, marked with burn spots, scratches, and fear. And yet, every pair of human eyes burned with fierce determination. "This is what we came for," Mara said. "When that bomb goes off, it may destroy the Vortex swarm, or kill us. But if we succeed, countless lives across the galaxy will be saved. I will not order any of you to stay. If you wish to leave this fight, I will record your bravery with honor." No one moved. Liam stepped forward. "We stay." Priya nodded. "To the end." Noah smiled sadly. "This is what humanity does. We protect." Even Commander Kale, though alien, lowered his head respectfully. "You humans are unpredictable, but I will see this through." Mara's heart filled with quiet pride. She saluted them, not as a captain to crew, but as one human to another. "Arm the bomb." Priya pressed the final switch. A soft timer appeared. 0 hours, 14 minutes, and 59 seconds. 15 minutes until detonation. Mara whispered, "Take us to delivery range." The Solar Fury moved directly toward the monstrous core. Red eyes began to flicker. The swarm sensed danger. Loud alarms echoed outside as the machines awakened. "Speed up," Mara commanded. Engines roared. The ship became a silver spear, shooting toward the burning heart. Liam shouted, "Swarm approaching fast. Intercept in 4 minutes." Noah yelled down corridors, "Brace for impact." Priya held the detonator to her chest, whispering a prayer to every god she knew. Mara focused straight ahead, on that pulsing black-red sphere, her expression burning with unstoppable will. Outside, thousands of Vortex drones screamed forward like a tidal wave of death. Inside, the humans prepared to strike, knowing this moment could be their last. Captain Mara whispered 3 words into the silence, "For the future." The Solar Fury hurled through the void like a wounded comet, its engines blazing hot and its hull shaking under terrible stress. Ahead of it loomed the monstrous Vortex core, a pulsing sphere of black dread. energy wrapped in tangled metal and lightning like currents. Behind the ship, thousands of Orcs drones chased with deadly purpose. Glowing eyes, burning like a storm of rubies. Captain Mara Holt stood tall at the front window, face lit by flickering shadows. Her fingers dug tightly into the railing. The countdown on the bomb ticked down. 11:43, 11:42, 11:41. Time was slipping through her hands like sand. Hold speed, she ordered. We get as close as possible before release. Aye, Liam Graves replied. His voice was steady, but sweat trickled down the side of his face. His hands moved fast over controls, dodging enemy fire and space debris. Priya Rowe stayed near the core bomb, watching over the flickering timer. Her breaths were shaky, but determined. Stability dropping, she whispered. We get only one chance. In the medical bay, Noah Reyes finished strapping medical packs to his chest. He knew that once the bomb detonated, chaos would follow. He needed to be ready to help anyone who survived. Commander Kaeltron stood close by Mara's side now, no longer criticizing. His alien tattoos glowed bright green. You humans are unlike any species I've met, he said quietly. Mara didn't break focus? Is that a compliment, Commander? Kael's lips twitched. It is. Confusion and admiration. Outside, the black-red sphere swelled and pulsed as if it were alive. Tendrils of energy whipped around it. Each one struck like a lightning bolt. The solar fury flew past one, barely avoiding destruction. Range 2 core, 6 kilometers, Liam announced. Closer, Mara said. Priya shouted from below. If we go too near, the shockwave will kill us too. Mara's answer was cold and calm. Understood. The Vorik swarm shrieked behind them, firing jagged black spears of energy. One slammed into the back of the solar fury. Sparks and metal fragments burst across the engine room. Secondary engine is failing, Priya cried. Redirect power from shields. Mara commanded instantly. Light flickered throughout the ship, dimming white to orange, but the engines blazed brighter. They leaped forward again, pushing deeper into enemy territory, toward certain death. The countdown read 9:15. Liam's fingers trembled. Captain ... Yes. If we die, I want you to know, serving under you has been the greatest honor of my life. Mara's expression softened. Not yet, Lieutenant Graves. I'm not finished with you. Priya, listening through the comms, wiped a tear and smiled at her bomb. Don't cry yet, she whispered. Blow up first, cry later. Noah braced himself in the hallway, his heart pounding with fierce pride. These weren't just crewmen anymore, they were family. 8:30. The sphere grew so large, it filled the entire window. Mara could see black liquid light swirling inside like an evil ocean. One ripple slammed into a chunk of wreckage nearby, turning it instantly into dust. Liam stared in terror. That is what we're flying into. Mara didn't blink. Yes, and we are going to make it bleed. At 7:58, the ship violently shook. Another hit from the swarm blasted off a rear panel. Priya screamed over comms hull breaches on level 4. Noah ran, sealing doors, dragging an injured crewman to safety. Blood stained his hands, but his courage didn't break. Stay with me, he whispered. Stay awake. Kael took control of a rear cannon and began firing with fury. For the first time, the alien fought not for himself, but for the humans who refused to surrender. 6:20. Range 2 core, 2 kilometers, Liam breathed. Mara lifted her hand, prepared to drop the bomb. Priya's fingers trembled as she placed the bomb into the launch tube. It looked ugly, patched with wires and metal plates, but its ticking heart glowed fiercely. Noah Reyes suddenly appeared behind Mara, medical bag slung over his shoulder. Captain, he said softly, just in case. Thank you. Mara glanced at him quickly. Her voice dropped. No, ... Thank you. 5 o'clock. Target lock achieved, Liam said. Mara's voice was calm. Release on my mark. The world outside twisted with lightning. The swarm screamed and closed in. The future balanced on the edge of a blade. For 10. Mara lifted her hand in slow motion. Mark. Priya hit the switch. The bomb launched. Forward, silently floating toward the pulsing core, like a tiny silver fish swimming into a volcano. 03:59. 358. Turn the ship around. Mara barked. Full speed away. The solar fury spun sharply, engines roaring. They fled the core at breakneck speed. Behind them, they watched in horror as Orcs drones raced toward the bomb, trying to intercept it. Some latched onto it. Others tried to cut into it. Priya screamed into the go faster. 2:30. Liam pushed the engines past safe levels. Alarm bells shrieked. Sparks sprayed overhead. The ship quaked like it was being torn apart from the inside. Noah prayed under his breath. Kale kept firing his cannon, destroying any drone that tried to follow them too closely. 1 o'clock. They weren't far enough. Shields too full. Mara ordered. The ship's last energy poured into a glowing blue bubble around them. It flickered uncertainly. 0:30. 0:29. Mara gripped the railing so tightly her knuckles turned white. Liam whispered, Hold, hold. 0:01. 0 o'clock. A blinding light erupted behind them, brighter than anything they had ever seen. The stars disappeared. The nebula caught fire. A wave of pure destruction swept forward, unstoppable. The solar fury plunged forward, racing the explosion. No one screamed, no one breathed. They simply believed. The explosion hit the solar fury like a god's hammer. A wall of white fire swallowed the rear of the ship. Metal screamed, windows cracked. Crew members were thrown off their feet as alarms howled with violent fury. For one terrible second, it felt like the ship was being ripped apart, like every bolt would fly loose, every wire would snap, and every person would be turned to dust. And then, silence stopped. The ship floated, dead and dark, surrounded by drifting metal and glowing dust. Sensors were shattered. Lights were gone. Only emergency backups remained, weak and flickering like dying candles. Inside the broken ship, shadows stretched long and quiet. Captain Mara Holt lay on the bridge floor, blood on her forehead. Slowly, painfully, she sat up. The rail she had held seconds ago was now twisted and on fire. Every part of her body hurt, but her heart kept beating, steady, stubborn. She looked around. Liam Graves was half buried under a fallen beam. His breath was shallow. Priya Rowe was on her knees, coughing hard. Her engineering uniform scorched black. Noah Reyes pulled himself up using the wall, his medical bag somehow still over his shoulder. Commander Kaeltron had collapsed near the weapon controls, his alien skin flickering with weak lights, tattoos barely glowing. Mara forced herself to stand. Sound off, she croaked, her voice rough. Alive, Liam whispered as he tried to pull his legs free. Alive, Priya breathed, pressing a hand to her chest. Alive, Noah said, stumbling toward the others. Kale gave a shaky nod. Mara's heart eased, just a little. Status. Priya crawled to a sparking control panel. Engines offline. Shields gone. Navigation destroyed. We are floating. Liam checked the cracked tactical screen. His fingers hesitated. He swallowed and said, Vorex contacts. 0. For a moment, no one spoke. The words hung in the air like a miracle. 0. No chase-in swarm, no red eyes, no unnatural signals. The core might truly be gone. A tiny smile appeared on Mara's bloody lips. We did it. Priya burst into tears, half joy, half pain, wiping her face with a dirty sleeve. The swarm wiped out. Liam nodded slowly. At least, in this region, the signal is gone. Noah laughed, weak and breathless. Then he dropped to his knees, to check Kale's pulse. Commander will be fine. Minor injuries only. Mara's eyes softened as she looked at them, each one broken but alive. They had done what no Alliance armada could do. A single human crew, battered and underestimated, had destroyed the most terrifying enemy in the galaxy. But victory could not erase danger. How long until oxygen runs out? Mara asked. Priya ran a shaky calculation. Her voice trembled. For hours, Mara nodded. Begin repairs immediately. Liam, try to boost a distress beacon. Noah, treat the wounded. Priya, focus on power restoration. They moved, even though their bodies screamed with exhaustion. Liam used broken wires and torn metal to build an emergency transmitter. Priya climbed into wrecked systems, hands bleeding as she welded connections. Noah patched wounds, using whatever remained in his quickly emptying medical kit. Hours passed, in sharp, painful moments, outside the windows. The nebula slowly glowed with calming purple mist again, like a beast going to sleep. The battlefield had turned into a peaceful sky once more. No one would guess the destruction that had occurred here, except the humans lying within that ruined ship. Finally, Liam stood, panting. Distress beacon online, broadcasting low-power signal to nearby Alliance relays. Priya collapsed against a wall, her face pale. Main generator might restart. Need more time. Noah leaned heavily beside Mara, wiping sweat from his forehead. If rescue doesn't find us soon. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. They will. But in truth, she wasn't sure. The nebula was known for scrambling transmissions, and this region was beyond patrol lines. Still, they had not come this far to die quietly. She looked over her brave crew and made a silent promise to herself. I will get you home. After another hour, Priya suddenly gasped. Power spike, I think. The lights flickered again, and finally blinked to life in a weak glow. Oxygen scrubbers hummed. Fans turned. The ship breathed. Everyone cheered through tears. At that precise moment, Liam shouted, picking up movement. Mara rushed to the forward glass. A shape emerged through purple mist, sleek, silver, shining, an Alliance rescue cruiser. Liam's voice cracked with emotion. They found us. Mara felt warmth flood her chest. She whispered, thank you. The cruiser hailed them. This is Guardian's shield, receiving distress signal. Humanity's ship, respond. Mara pressed the com with trembling fingers. This is Captain Mara Holt of the Solar Fury. Mission complete. Request immediate assistance. The rescue team broke through the nebula, shining lights on the wounded ship, guiding it gently, like a hand lifting someone up from a battlefield. Mara closed her eyes, finally allowing a tear to roll down her cheek. Behind her, the crew cried, laughed, hugged. Even Kale cracked a rare smile. They had survived the monster. They had destroyed the threat, and thanks to one tiny beacon of hope, they were going home. As the rescue cruiser attached tow cables to the shattered ship, Liam whispered to Priya, they'll never underestimate humans again. Priya smiled through her bruises. Let them try. Captain Mara, still standing tall, despite her pain, watched the nebula fade behind them. This is only the beginning, she murmured. Humanity is just getting started. The Solar Fury, battered but proud, was towed slowly out of the Cora Nebula by the Alliance rescue cruiser Guardian's shield. Behind them, purple clouds rippled gently, like peaceful ocean waves, hiding the chaos, fear, and bravery that had taken place inside them. Ahead lay clear space, dotted with bright stars and distant planets. Captain Mara Holt remained awake, even though her body begged for rest. Her uniform was torn, her head wrapped in bandages, but her spirit burned strong. She watched every repair team step onto her ship, fixing cables, sealing doors, and helping her wounded crew. Lieutenant Liam Graves stood beside her, arm in a sling. The Alliance is calling us back to Central Command, he said softly. Mara nodded once. They want answers. And celebrations, Liam added with a faint smile. Mara didn't smile back, or a scapegoat. Hours later, after a fast journey through hyperspace, the Solar Fury entered the orbit of the Alliance capital, world, Lysara Prime. From space, it looked like a shimmering pearl, wrapped in rings of glowing dust. Bright space stations floated above its surface like jewels in a crown. Dozens of warships escorted Mara's vessel into the docking ring. Each flashed banners from different alien races: Varnok, Drakari, Jori, Harkonnen, and more. All eyes were on the little human-made ship that had dared the impossible. Mara and her crew were taken to the Grand Assembly Hall, a gigantic chamber with golden floors, crystal balconies, and thousands of spectators. High above sat the Alliance Council, 12 alien leaders who decided the fate of galaxies. Their faces were stern, unreadable. Mara walked in slow steps, followed by Priya, Noah, Liam, and even Commander Kale. They wore clean uniforms now, but their wounds were still fresh beneath the fabric. Behind them floated a massive hologram of the Vorrex core explosion. Counselor Onyx, the silver-skinned alien with 6 blinking eyes, stood and addressed the assembly. Captain Mara Holt, you and your crew abandoned protocol, disobeyed direct orders, and entered restricted Nebula space without authorization. His voice echoed through the hall. Some aliens hissed in disapproval. Others nodded. Mara did not bow her head. Yes, you risked diplomatic stability, Vranix continued sharply. You endangered your own species. For a reckless dream of glory. Mara's dark eyes shone like steel. We risked everything so that others could live. A whisper moved through the crowd, first surprise, then hesitation. Counselor Vranix lifted his hand. Yet, your actions destroyed the Vorrex swarm. Billions of lives have been saved. Do you feel proud? His tone held disbelief, almost anger. Mara answered simply, I feel responsible. The chamber fell silent. Priya gripped Noah's hand tightly. Liam watched with quiet intensity. Kaeltron stepped forward unexpectedly. This human speaks truth, he announced, voice strong. I was there. I doubted them. I believed humans were weak. But on that battlefield, I saw courage greater than any logic. Without their leadership, we would all be dead. Gasps rippled across the hall. Counselor Vranix narrowed his 6 eyes. Counselor Zara, a graceful horned alien, rose next. Her voice was softer. Perhaps this is the strength humanity brings. Something we lost long ago. She looked at Mara curiously. What do you call it? Mara answered without hesitation. Hope. The chamber fell still again. Slowly, just slowly enough, applause began. First light clapping from the Drakari balconies, then cheering from Jori officers. More and more aliens rose, thumping their fists, making their own cultural signs of respect. Counselor Vranix looked overwhelmed. Finally, he raised a grudging hand. The Alliance recognizes humanity's sacrifice. The Solar Fury shall be honored, and her crew decorated as heroes. A roar of celebration rolled across the great hall. Mara did not smile, but her heart swelled with pride. Priya burst into tears. Noah hugged her tight. Liam bowed his head in humble relief. Even tough Kale blinked quickly, pretending something was in his eye. Later that evening, in a quiet balcony garden lit by silver lanterns, the crew sat together, wrapped in blankets, drinking warm herbal tea from alien cups. Liam spoke first. We should be happy. We made history. Priya nodded. Aren't we happy? Mara leaned on the metal railing and looked out over the glowing city. Yes, she said gently. But I am thinking about the next danger. Somewhere out there, another threat sleeps, and when it wakes, they will expect someone else to save them. Noah touched her arm. Then we do it again. Mara finally smiled. Small, tired, but beautiful. Yes, humanity might be small, but when we stand together. She looked at her crew with love. We are unstoppable. High above them, the night sky sparkled brightly. The nebula was far behind them now, but its memory burned in every heartbeat. The solar fury was being rebuilt, stronger than before, and soon it would carry a new message across the stars, not of fear, but of defiance, bravery, and unity, because across the galaxy, beings were starting to whisper something new about Earth. When chaos comes, send the humans. 1 month after their return, the solar fury floated in Earth's orbit, repaired, reborn, and brighter than ever. Its hull was coated in new armor, its engine stronger, its name painted proudly in bold white letters. Down below, the blue planet glowed softly in the dark, spinning with oceans and memories. Humanity had come home, but they were no longer the same people who had left. In the hangar bay, Captain Mara Holt walked slowly, her boots echoing. Around her, engineers tightened bolts, pilots tested new fighters, and technicians polished curved panels of alien alloy. A fresh banner had been placed beside the ship, a human hand wrapped in flames, reaching for the stars. Lieutenant Liam Graves joined her, still wearing a sling but walking straighter than before. The Alliance has assigned us a new mission, he said. Mara didn't stop walking. Where? Outer Rim, he replied softly. Unknown territory, possible pirate attacks. Strange energy readings. Council wants us to observe only. His smile was thin. You know what that really means. Mara gave a faint, knowing smirk. Another storm. Priya Rowe ran toward them with a datapad clutched to her chest. Her hair was tied up messily, and excitement sparkled in her tired eyes. Captain, you have to see this. She showed a news report, streaming across thousands of alien networks. The headline read, Humanity, the flame that refused to die. Under it flickered a hollow recording of the Vortex core exploding. The fiery blast rippled across the nebula, while a voice explained how a small human crew saved the galaxy. Priya blinked fast, overcome with emotion. They believe in us now. Mara took the pad gently and looked at the image, her crew standing together, bruised but proud. She traced her finger across it. This is just the beginning, she said quietly. Later, on the newly repaired bridge of Solar Fury, Noah Reyes watched Earth through the glass. His eyes softened. We almost died so many times, yet all I can think of is how beautiful home looks. I know, Mara said. She placed a hand on his shoulder. But remember, our strength is not just this planet. It's the way we carry it with us, wherever we go. Kale Tron stepped in, now officially reassigned to the Solar Fury as liaison officer. His straight posture and bright tattoos were familiar now. Council reports multiple factions requesting human advisors. They want your chaotic insight. The alien said, chaotic almost respectfully this time. Liam chuckled. The galaxy finally figured out how useful crazy can be. Noah looked at Priya. Are you ready to go back into danger? Priya grinned, fierce and bright. Always. Mara sat in her command chair once again. Her hands moved over the controls, calm, confident, unstoppable. Around her, the bridge hummed with life. The crew took their positions. Outside the windows, stars waited in silence, endless, mysterious, and beautiful. A final transmission from the Alliance appeared on screen, from Counselor Vranix himself. His 6 eyes blinked slowly as he said, Humanity, may your courage continue to shock us. Mara nodded once, message finished. She stood and looked over her team. Today, she said firmly, we leave not as outsiders or underdogs, but as protectors. Where there is chaos or fear, we will bring hope. Where others retreat, we advance. Where despair rises, we fight. Because that is who we are. Liam raised his fist. For Earth, Priya lifted hers too. For the future. Noah echoed. for every life in the stars. And surprisingly, Kale spoke last, lowering his head in honor for humanity. Energy rushed through the crew like electricity. They belonged here, not just on this ship, but in this story now unfolding across the galaxy. Mara gave one final command: launch. Engines ignited. The solar fury roared forward, breaking away from Earth's pull and slicing into the dark. As it climbed higher, a million tiny lights from city windows twinkled below, like hearts cheering them on. The ship cleared orbit and leaped into hyperspace, becoming a streak of silver fire across the unknown. Behind them, Earth faded from sight ahead. New wars waited, new friends, new enemies, new legends. But no matter how far they traveled, every alien who saw their banner, a burning human hand reaching upward, understood the message clearly: when the darkest hour comes, humanity will be the first to rise.